thanking them for the food while we wait for you. But I was saying this is our last session for the forum, and that we wanted to look a little bit at beyond the country. We wanted to look at some of the regional dynamics and how governance can play a good role in helping shape regional cooperation and regionalism, broadly speaking. And we thought we'd end with this session because we spent a lot of time talking about aspects and elements of governance. And I think we got a snippet from when His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan gave us experiences of how he intervened in Botswana, maybe unsuccessfully in Guinea and some other countries. But we thought for this session we'll try and discuss, first of all, given that we start with the President directly, I introduced the panel, so we'll go straight to the point. First of all, given that, Dr. Toure, you've been, I think, at the center of, I would say, what has been perhaps the most consequential governance permutations in this region over the past maybe 20 years. During your term in office, you've witnessed so many changes and so many challenges in our region. I wanted to kick off this conversation with you as President of ECOWAS. How do you see regionalism serving the Sahel today? How do you see the concept and the notion of beyond state in finding solutions serving our region today in its current form?
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. First, I would like to thank once again the organizers of this important forum, very well. The organizers of the forum, the UNDP, the Jonathan Foundation, the International IDEA, for really bringing us together on this important topic, which is governance. I think I risk repeating myself by putting more stress on the importance of governance. I am of the view that if we have to fix only one thing in Africa, that thing should be governance. And I'm saying this because looking at Africa's trajectory, Africa's development over the past years, over many years, I've come to realize one thing. Those countries that have started off at the same level with Africa and today have surpassed us, have one thing in common, or have one thing that I can attribute their success to. They seem to have gotten governance right. They seem to have understood what accountability is all about, what discipline is all about, and what results are all about. All of us, when we travel around, if we speak frankly among ourselves, we come back to express our impressions about the discipline of certain people, the discipline that certain regions have, and the sense of responsibility that certain regions enjoy. We don't come and say, oh, they had petrol, they had diamonds, this is why they're here. We say they have achieved the results they have achieved because they are committed, they have discipline, and they focus on results. Now, coming back to your question, regionalism can help our countries, and the Sahel included, by mainstreaming governance and making it an important consideration in the way we do business. And as I said yesterday, that does not mean we focus only on elections, but we focus on results, delivering results for the people. And you cannot deliver results for the people if there is no sense of accountability, if there is no discipline. This whole notion of patriotism and everything, it's more about accountability and discipline. So I think the role that regional organizations have been playing and should continue to play is to mainstream governance, to make sure governance stays at the center of what we are doing. You fix governance, you fix development. This is my belief, and I have seen it elsewhere, where regions or countries that have fixed governance, those are the regions we are admiring today. And we might wonder how certain places that might not necessarily be, in our narrow sense of governance, might not be the best in our governance parameters. They do have components of governance that underline what they are doing. These are countries that shun corruption. These are countries that make sure integrity governs whatever they are doing. So our region...
Dr. Toure, I would come back to you because I got a lot of questions from the room. People wanted me to ask.
I think one thing we need to understand is that ECOWAS is a reality that we are all living today. It suffices to go outside West Africa to understand the difficulty of traveling within Africa. An entrepreneur such as Dangote has recently lamented the fact that he requires about 30 visas to travel within Africa. And my response to him, my response to him was, well, thank God, no West African countries is among those countries that would impose visa requirements on you. Now, the visa-free movement did not fall from the sky. It was a deliberate policy, a deliberate instrument put in place by ECOWAS. ECOWAS is, until recently, the only region where with an ID card or a simple passport you can move freely from Lagos all the way to Dakar. You don't have this in many African regions. ECOWAS hasn't stopped there. ECOWAS is a trading bloc. This is a region where our local produce, or produce that satisfy the market, the rules of origins, can trade freely in a market of 400 million people. Beyond this, ECOWAS is looking at infrastructure that seeks to connect the people from Lagos to Abidjan through the Lagos-Abidjan highway, and from Abidjan to Praia through Banjul here. Just last month, I think we had a team here that came to explore the possibility, the possibility of a bridge over the Banjul-Bara bridge, and a study is being commissioned. Now, in addition to that, you have electricity connectivity. We have the West African Power Pool, where, as we speak, 14 member states are now connected. And the whole idea is to enable these 14 member states to trade in electricity, to make it easy for a Gambian utility company to source electricity from the cheapest source within the region. Now, these are concrete examples that seek to advance or serve the interests of the ordinary person. Do we have challenges? Oh yes, we do have challenges. But which region of the world does not have challenges? What is happening in our region is more of a reflection of the global reality. And we need to be conscious of this. The world has never been at such a bad shape in many years. So what is happening in West Africa? It's more of a reflection of those global realities. Going forward, we certainly need introspection. And this is why we are working on a summit of the future that will enable us not only to celebrate the 50 years of integration, but allow us to reflect on what is working well, what needs to be jettisoned, and what needs to be improved upon. So yes, ECOWAS is here to stay with us. With whether we are going to keep everything as is, certainly not. Nothing is constant. But ECOWAS is a reality that we would have invented if it was not here.
Thank you very much. Dr. Touré. Madame Matt, je vais tourner vers vous maintenant. Est-ce que vous travaillez avec les femmes dans la région? Et j'aimerais demander, avec tout ce que vous avez entendu le président dire, mais aussi les 2 derniers jours, et surtout le rôle que les femmes jouent dans la paix, la sécurité et la gouvernance dans la région. Qu'est-ce que vous voyez comme une future pour cette groupe très, très, très puissant dans la région pour notre gouvernance dans cette zone?
Oui, merci. Excellences, Monsieur le Président, chers participants. Déjà, je voudrais dire que la régionalisation, c'est une nécessité, mais aussi une opportunité, aussi bien pour les femmes que pour les jeunes. Le Sahel a un problème commun, ou des problèmes ou des défis communs. On les a listés plusieurs fois. Et je pense que lorsque nous parlons des spécificités intégrées dans la régionalité, il faut que nous soyons sûrs que nous pouvons en même temps adresser des questions spécifiques à des personnes comme les femmes et les jeunes, les groupes marginalisés, au niveau local, au niveau régional, au niveau national et autres. Les opportunités que moi je vois pour les femmes, c'est déjà la possibilité qu'elles puissent travailler ensemble, qu'elles puissent développer des systèmes qui deviennent des opportunités pour elles, mais aussi pour les jeunes. Qu'est-ce qu'elles font? Nous avons vu des femmes parler ici. Nous savons qu'il y a assez de réseaux des femmes dans le Sahel. Et ce que ces réseaux font, ces réseaux de femmes font, n'est pas à démontrer pour faire avancer la paix au niveau de l'Afrique de manière générale, au niveau de la région du Sahel, mais aussi de manière spécifique dans les pays. Nous savons très bien que les femmes sont celles-là qui préservent la paix au niveau de la famille, au niveau de la communauté, mais aussi au niveau de la nation, avec cette force dont elles disposent, la force de mobilisation, la force de convaincre, la force de la compassion dont elles disposent, elles sont capables d'influencer les systèmes de paix. Maintenant, est-ce qu'elles ont assez d'espace pour pouvoir influencer les processus de paix dans la région du Sahel? Je dirais peut-être oui, mais il y a encore beaucoup à faire parce que nous ne considérons que celles-là que nous appelons des leaders. Moi, je dis les vrais leaders, elles sont à la base. Elles sont dans les villages, elles sont dans les communautés. Et celles-là, pour le moment, je pense, elles ont encore à être renforcées. Elles doivent être visibles, Et ça, c'est notre rôle en tant que nous, qu'on appelle leaders, qui sont capables de participer à des conférences, à des forums, capables de voyager, capables parce que nous avons étudié. Comment est-ce que nous pouvons devenir une force pour celle-là? Mais je voudrais aussi parler des jeunes. Nous avons vu que lorsque les groupes d'insécurité se sont développés dans le Sahel et même dans le bassin du lac Tchad, ces groupes ont compté sur les jeunes parce que les jeunes constituent une force. Et donc, ce que les jeunes sont capables de faire pour leur communauté, pour leur pays, ce n'est pas à démontrer et cette force doit être capitalisée. Mais aujourd'hui, ce que nous voyons, quand on parle des jeunes, c'est lorsqu'ils sont rattrapés dans la mer, parce qu'ils cherchent à traverser pour aller trouver une vie meilleure en Europe. Pourquoi est-ce qu'ils sont obligés de prendre ce chemin? C'est parce qu'à l'intérieur, dans leur propre continent, dans leur propre pays, il n'y a pas assez d'opportunités. Allons-nous continuer à assister à ce film quotidien où on récupère des jeunes, soit déjà morts dans le désert, ou alors en train de traverser, qui meurent? Allons-nous continuer à vivre la situation des femmes qui sont victimes avec leurs filles, tous les jours, de violences sexuelles, de mariages précoces, de filles qui sont arrachées de l'école? Et donc, si nous voulons que les femmes continuent à assumer ce rôle, je pense que nous avons un grand rôle à jouer pour soutenir ce travail que les femmes font dans la région du Sahel. Je voudrais évoquer un autre problème, un autre défi commun. Nous parlons toujours des défis de l'insécurité, des défis climatiques et autres, et nous ne parlons jamais de la crise humaine. Qui aide pour que les femmes puissent effectivement continuer à jouer des rôles au niveau politique, au niveau de processus de paix, des négociations dans le Sahel? On a besoin que tous ces systèmes-là soient mis en place. Nous avons le système éducatif. Est-ce que nos systèmes éducatifs sont promoteurs des compétences, de développement des compétences pour les enfants, en matière de gouvernance, en matière de leadership, pour leur permettre d'acquérir ces notions dès la base et de grandir avec, et qu'une fois qu'ils ont la possibilité d'exercer des fonctions au niveau de leadership ou au niveau d'autorité, qu'ils puissent mettre ça en valeur. Autre chose que je voudrais toucher, qui paraît tabou, nous avons les confessions religieuses. Et lorsque nous parlons de l'implication ou de la participation des femmes dans l'avancement des mécanismes qui sont mis en place pour permettre qu'on évolue ensemble, je pense qu'on devrait vraiment interroger et toucher du doigt ces systèmes-là qui n'évoluent pas parce qu'on parle des religions. Et donc on se recroqueville là-dedans, on se cache pour dire ça c'est de Dieu et puis on ne peut pas changer. Je pense qu'on doit évoluer ensemble. On doit pouvoir dire nous sommes musulmans, nous sommes chrétiens, nous sommes des animistes, mais nos systèmes culturels peuvent nous permettre de changer certaines choses pour nous positionner au niveau du Sahel avec les femmes et les jeunes. Je voudrais saluer et féliciter toutes ces femmes qui sont ici, qui sont passées dans les panels, qui sont des femmes leaders, qui assument des fonctions importantes au niveau de la région. Et je pense qu'on peut encore mieux faire. Et c'est sur cette note que je voudrais arrêter pour ce premier tour. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. Merci, Madame Wandou. Je pense que vous avez aussi soulevé la question de la gouvernance locale et le rôle de la femme au niveau local. Et cette leadership qui doit être née à ce niveau-là pour pouvoir gérer tout un réseau de conflits. La question des AIS. Et on a aussi le défi au niveau du Golfe de Guinée. Qu'est-ce que vous voyez comme cette future dans cette région sur laquelle nous devons travailler?
Merci beaucoup, monsieur le modérateur. Je voudrais également joindre ma voix et nous réjouir de la présence des distinguées autorités qui sont là, les anciens présidents, premiers ministres et toutes ces personnalités africaines qui ont tant fait la fierté du continent. Parce que dans un monde difficile où l'Afrique a eu à se battre, il y a eu malgré tout des voix fortes africaines qui se sont levées et qui ont toujours défendu la cause de l'Afrique, défendu la cause de la jeunesse et des femmes africaines, et défendu la cause de l'avenir de l'Afrique, dont tout le monde pense, sauf les Africains, quel est le futur du monde. Donc je pense que nous leur devons un tribut et c'est l'occasion également de remercier les organisateurs pour les avoir amenés à cette conversation, cette discussion. On nous a rappelé aussi tout à l'heure qu'aujourd'hui est la journée de la femme africaine. Je suis sûre qu'Ahona a cette idée, elle nous réserve quelque chose pour la fin. Mais je pense que c'est un heureux hasard que nous soyons réunis ici aujourd'hui pour aussi témoigner des efforts, des échecs, mais aussi des succès des femmes africaines sur la scène africaine et sur la scène mondiale également. Je me réjouis que les questions de gouvernance soient maintenant reconnues comme une question centrale. Nous tous qui avons été dans le développement, qui avons passé des années avant la diplomatie, dans le développement, à élaborer des politiques, à suivre leur mise en œuvre, à aller sur le terrain, nous savons que l'Afrique a beaucoup perdu. Nous espérions que les stratégies que nous avions pensées, et je parle sous le contrôle de Mardier et d'autres dans la salle, dans les années 80, 90, 2000, allaient nous mener bien au-delà de là où nous sommes aujourd'hui. Des décennies d'efforts ont été balayés subitement. Des politiques et des programmes qui étaient prometteurs ont été mis à terre simplement parce que, sans parler des coups d'État militaires, sans parler des changements anticonstitutionnels, un changement de régime dans un pays démocratique, soi-disant, a effacé des années de progrès, puisque tout leader qui arrive avec ses idées et considère que tout ce qui était fait avant n'a pas de raison d'être et doit être mis sur la touche. Et mettre ça sur la touche, c'est mettre sur la touche des années d'efforts, de sacrifices que nous, pays et les partenaires qui sont avec nous, avons consenti. Donc, c'est juste le moment de reconnaître la centralité de la gouvernance et du leadership. Maintenant, pour répondre à votre question, effectivement, la perspective régionale doit être au centre de nos préoccupations. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, il est clair qu'aucun pays ne peut résoudre le problème seul. Aucune sous-région ne peut régler le problème seule. La CEDEAO ne peut pas partir sans l'Afrique centrale, sans l'Afrique australe, sans la Corne de l'Afrique. J'étais dernièrement au Soudan. J'ai vu comment les dynamiques qui se passent dans cette région sont interreliées avec ce qui se passe dans notre définition actuelle du Soudan, du Sahel. Effectivement, une des panélistes tout à l'heure a parlé du Soudan en disant pourquoi est-ce que notre définition du Sahel ne va pas jusque-là. Puisque quand vous allez au Darfour, quand vous voyez les problèmes qui se posent là-bas, il n'y a aucune raison de ne pas les aborder de la même façon qu'on les aborde quand on parle du Tchad ou quand on parle du Ouest Sahel, qu'on appelle le Sahel central. Donc, je pense que la perspective régionale est une perspective clé. L'Union africaine a été créée pour ça. Est-ce que nous nous sommes donné les moyens de réaliser effectivement cette intégration, cette régionalisation ou cette perspective régionale? Comment nous l'avons mise en œuvre? Je pense, sous le contrôle du docteur Gadio, les panafricanistes sont là. Ils ont fait le plaidoyer. Mais je pense qu'aujourd'hui, il faut vendre ce panafricanisme aux jeunes générations d'Africains, de Ouest-Africains, de Sahéliens, qui se considèrent aussi comme des citoyens du monde, qui veulent le Sahel, qui veulent l'Afrique, qui veulent que, en tout cas, ce continent se hisse au niveau des autres continents, qui n'ont pas de barrières, parce que la technologie le leur permet. Les moyens de circulation sont là pour ça. Ils voient le monde. Aujourd'hui, quelle perspective sur l'Afrique on va vendre à ces nouvelles générations? C'est un projet politique, c'est une question d'unité et de coopération. Et l'unité et la coopération sont, à mon avis, des puissants leviers pour la transformation. Si la Gambie se transforme et si le Sénégal ne se transforme pas, la Sénégambie en elle-même perd. Si le Sénégal se transforme, mais le Nigeria ne se transforme pas, c'est toute la sous-région. Par contre, si nous mettons bout à bout les ressources, les talents, les opportunités et les possibilités across the board, le Nigeria, la Côte d'Ivoire, l'Afrique de l'Ouest, l'Afrique centrale, la SADC, alors l'Afrique pourra à ce moment-là réaliser ses promesses. Donc, mon premier point, c'est vraiment unité, coopération pour vraiment traduire une vision politique réaliste sur ce que doit être l'approche régionale. La deuxième dimension, c'est la dimension économique. Nous avons la ZLECA. Aujourd'hui, nous parlons marché, nous parlons ouverture, nous parlons libre circulation des biens et des personnes. Nous avons l'opportunité d'avoir cet instrument. Est-ce que nous avons donné assez d'énergie, assez de moyens, assez de ressources pour vraiment réaliser cette promesse de marché commun qui est un support pour la prospérité, pas pour un pays, mais pour l'ensemble du continent? Je veux, puisqu'on parle de solutions, il y a des solutions.
Je vais revenir vers vous pour conclure avec les solutions.
Ah, ok.
Oui.
Merci.
Je vais voir aussi I wanted to see if anybody in the room would like to join the conversation or ask a question. And while I'm, just raise your hand and they'll bring the mic to you. I'll come back to you to give us forward-looking recommendations on how we develop that compact. But I wanted to go back to Dr. Toure on his work and his role with. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Toure, Madam Kadiata just mentioned some very important elements: political compact, economic compact, the new governance project or program. But from an ECOWAS perspective, what kind of compact do you think we need to have now moving into the next 50 years of ECOWAS?
I think going forward, we need a compact in 4 areas. The first is in peace and security. Up to now, the challenge we have faced in the area of peace and security is fragmented approach to peace and security. We will all remember the Takuba, the Barkhane, the J5 Sahel, the MINUSMA, Accra Initiative, MNJTF, and all that. These are important initiatives, I must say. But their impact on the ground has been limited because they have been fragmented. The fragmentation causes problem of coordination, problem of ownership, and as a result, their impact remains limited. What we are proposing at ECOWAS is that we should have these various initiatives, important as they may be. They should not remain fragmented. They need to be coordinated at a center, and that center is our regional body. It doesn't mean all member states should be part of Accra Initiative or they should be part of the MNJTF. But the fact that they are coordinated from a center builds ownership. It promotes ownership and it makes coordination much easier. That is one thing in the area of peace and security. We need a coordinated and owned approach to peace and security in the sub-region. The second area is deeper integration. We need a compact on deeper integration. How do we do this? We need to be able to trade more among ourselves. As we speak, intra-community trade is around 12% in our sub-region. The continental average is about 18-20%, depending on which report you are looking at. Regions that have been integrated sufficiently are trading at a level or at a tune of 60 to 70%. The European intra-community trade in Europe is about 70%. In the ASEAN countries, it's about 60%. We are only at between 15 and 20%. So we have a long way to go. So the compact we need in this area is to boost intra-community trade. How do we do this? First, we need to build the capacity to produce. Sufficient investment must be done in our productive sectors so that we can produce. It is one thing to have market access, but a totally different thing to have what to trade or what to sell in that market. So we need to build the productive capacity of member states. We also need to build the infrastructure. It is no secret that movement within the region is more difficult than moving from the region to another region. So we need to build the infrastructure. This is why ECOWAS is putting a lot of stress and a lot of resources on these major corridors, Lagos, Abidjan, which the studies have been completed, and we understand the investment outlay required is about $15 billion, but with a good economic rate of return of 15%. So this is where we are with regard to this. So beyond this, we have the Abidjan Praia corridor, which covers this part of the region. We also need to build or address the energy deficit. Energy consumption in our region is perhaps the lowest. You can't produce and sell. You can't build the productive sector with the sort of energy access we have. So we need to work on this. So this is, in a nutshell, the second compact we need to have. The third compact is human development. We need to focus on education, education and education. And if I have $1 to spend on education, I will put it on the education of girl child. This is because we as Africans, we see how much the women are bearing the brunt of poverty, how much women are carrying that. We need to educate women. We need to train the girl child to be able to defend herself sometimes from man-induced poverty. If you go to our villages, some of these child marriages we see can be addressed by training girls, by educating girls. And some aspects of poverty we are facing in our community can be attributed to some of these traditional practices of marrying of children at very young age. So the education of a girl child and education in general must be second compact we must have. Now, my co-panelist has spoken about these phenomena of young people taking the risk of crossing the Mediterranean Sea and all this. In many instances, in the Gambia here, we call it the back way. In many instances here, the lack of opportunity goes hand in hand with the lack of capacity. So we need our compact in the area of education should not only be to train people to speak Shakespearean English or French, I don't know, of Calvin or Voltaire, I don't know which one you call it. People should be able to employ themselves. They should have the capacity to generate employment for themselves sometimes. We have it here. Competent people are making more money than a state minister or a director general. Some competent, technically trained people. So we need to include this in the education compact. Okay. And the final compact is sustainable and equitable development. This means addressing climate crisis. You see, we hear conflict in some areas that pitch herders against farmers. Some of that is climate related. This is why adaptation is extremely important for our region. We need to fight for resources for adaptation, but we should be conscious of the problems of climate crisis that we find ourselves. So in response to what you say, to your question, we need these 4 compacts going forward. Compact on peace and security, compact on governance, compact on deeper regional integration, and of course, sustainable development. But let me just use one minute to re-echo what I said yesterday. I think it is time we understand there is nothing wrong with having 2 organizations in one region. The alliance of Sahelian states is not contradictory to ECOWAS. We have the Mano River Union within ECOWAS. We have the Senegal River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. We have the Gambia River Basin Organization within ECOWAS. What matters is to work together as a community. And this is the understanding we have reached with the IOS countries. I was in Mali in May to meet with the 3 countries at the foreign ministers level. And the conclusion of that meeting was endorsed by the Council of Ministers of ECOWAS, as well as with the heads of state, by the heads of state. And the conclusion is, until something is concluded, status quo remains in the sub-region. A Malian continues to enjoy the same rights they enjoyed when they were citizens of ECOWAS. A Gambian continues to enjoy the same rights in Mali. The same thing with trade. Gambian goods that are going from here to Mali should enjoy market access just like they have been enjoying. So there is no contradiction. And I think it is our strength lies not in having no problems, but in our capacity to surmount some of those difficulties. And going from here, it should be clear in our minds that yes, we are having some difficulties, but those difficulties, as we speak, are being resolved. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Toure. I think that's really reassuring to a lot of people. I have to say that throughout the 2 days, we've had more than 200,000 people following us from across the world on all the social media platform. So maybe give a round of applause to the communication team as well. I'm going to also close with, my two sisters here. La même question en fait. Quelle vision voyez-vous, quel compact voyez-vous pour cette région?
Oui, merci. Au risque de répéter ce que l'autre intervenant vient de dire, je vais intervenir sur trois aspects essentiels. Le premier compact que je vois, c'est la nécessité de passer à l'échelle au niveau régional avec des investissements transfrontaliers mais inclusifs qui sont capables de créer des impacts durables dans la vie des populations, aussi bien sur le plan social qu'économique. Et là, je voudrais insister sur le fait que les femmes, les jeunes et les groupes marginalisés devraient être au centre de ces investissements inclusifs, mais aussi à impact durable. Avec mon expérience sur le terrain, parler toujours des activités génératrices de revenus ou du petit commerce lorsqu'on parle des femmes, ce n'est plus efficace. Ça les maintient dans les rôles, ça les maintient dans la survie. Et donc, si on peut faire des choses à l'échelle, passer à l'échelle, ce serait important, en y ajoutant des renforcements des capacités, comme il a dit, pour ne pas seulement travailler sur les connaissances, mais viser beaucoup plus des compétences pour qu'elles puissent être capables de faire quelque chose, pour que les jeunes soient aussi capables de prendre leur vie en main. Le deuxième aspect que je voudrais aborder, c'est la coopération ou la collaboration entre les différents acteurs. Je vois les gouvernements, je vois les organisations qui accompagnent le développement, je vois la société civile, dans une capacité de travailler ensemble pour créer la confiance mutuelle, mais aussi avec pour priorité les intérêts des populations qui ne demandent qu'à vivre dans la dignité, parce que c'est à ce niveau-là que se trouve le sens du contrat social. Le troisième niveau que je voudrais aborder, il l'a dit, c'est la question de la paix, mais pas n'importe quelle paix. Une paix où on parle de droit, on parle de justice, on parle de vérité, on parle de l'amour pour les peuples, parce qu'il ne faut pas que la paix soit juste un vocable que nous utilisons, mais qu'elle se traduise dans les faits. Je me rappelle qu'il y avait une initiative de l'Union africaine, faire taire les armes en Afrique, avec plein d'espoir, avec des actions importantes. Je ne sais pas qu'est-ce que cette initiative est devenue. Est-ce que nous avons déjà pu faire taire les armes en Afrique et particulièrement au Sahel? Je pense que c'est un niveau important sur lequel nous devons encore insister. Pour moi, rien ne peut se faire efficacement si nous continuons à vivre dans ces situations de conflit et autres. Le troisième aspect que je voudrais relever, c'est le quatrième. C'est ce forum qui, pour moi, représente l'espoir et un nouveau souffle pour le Sahel, mais de vrai. Parce que, personnellement, je pense que si nous nous retrouvons encore ici, 5 ans, 10 ans, en reparlant des mêmes choses, en ayant des panels qui traitent des mêmes sujets, on n'aura pas du tout avancé. Il faut vraiment que nous saisissions l'opportunité et que nous avancions sur des programmes bien précis au niveau régional, que les gouvernements parlent entre eux, qu'on puisse faciliter les échanges à tous les niveaux pour permettre que nous puissions vraiment impulser notre région du Sahel. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Madame, je sais que vous avez interpellé le docteur Guadi aussi, et j'ai vu qu'il voulait peut-être répondre à quelque chose que vous avez parlé sur la jeunesse. Je ne sais pas si vous pouvez utiliser le micro juste pour quelques minutes. On peut lui passer le micro? Can I have the microphone handed over to Dr. Guadi for 2 minutes? Oh yeah, you can use this one. and then we would come back and you can close. Over there, in the second row.
Merci infiniment et félicitations aux trois panélistes qui ont fait des réflexions très très profondes. J'espère qu'on aura les moyens d'approfondir ces réflexions. Ma sœur Kadiata Ndiaye a soulevé un problème, continuer à sensibiliser les jeunesses africaines par rapport au panafricanisme. Alors, ce que je voulais peut-être dire, que je suis sûr qu'elle l'a constaté aussi avec moi, à un moment, on a eu un grand espoir qu'il y avait un renouveau du panafricanisme, particulièrement dans la région du Sahel. On voyait nos jeunes défiler, défendre le panafricanisme et tout ça. Mais le grand malheur que nous avons eu, c'est que nous tous avons manqué de vigilance et les gens ont introduit ce que j'appelle le populisme. Un populisme dévastateur qui a fait que, pour moi, le populisme, c'est la fin de la vérité. C'est la vérité alternative. Chacun a sa vérité, chacun dit ce qu'il veut. Et les réseaux sociaux l'ont amplifié. Les jeunes aujourd'hui, populistes qui se disent panafricanistes, ils font de ces affirmations, mais extraordinaires, et ils n'ont pas besoin de démontrer. Et ça, c'est les anciens qui les encadrent, qui leur font faire des choses comme ça. Un élément, une illustration absolument indiscutable qu'on a un problème, c'est à Kinshasa, quand Macron est allé visiter, les jeunes ont décidé de manifester, certains jeunes. Et on les a vus défiler dans la rue, mais une grosse manifestation avec des posters. Alors quand j'ai vu les posters à distance comme ça, à la télévision, je me suis dit, comme c'est des jeunes panafricanistes, ils sont en train de brandir le poster de Lumumba, ou alors peut-être Cabral, ou peut-être Sankara. Et quand on a fait un zoom sur les posters, c'était une photo de Poutine. Une photo de Poutine, brandie par des jeunes panafricanistes. Et ça pose tout le problème que nous avons aujourd'hui. Et rapidement sur un point, monsieur le modérateur, les jeunesses africaines, il y a une rupture fondamentale avec nos sociétés, de la part de la jeunesse. Je pense, moi, qu'ils sont convaincus qu'on leur a ôté le droit à l'espoir. On leur a ôté le droit au rêve. On leur a ôté le droit à l'avenir. Quand nous passons notre temps à dire aux jeunes, vous êtes l'avenir de l'Afrique. Mais j'ose dire que ce n'est pas vrai. Ils ne sont pas l'avenir de l'Afrique, ils sont le présent de l'Afrique. Comment vous pouvez avoir 1 milliard de jeunes et vous les renvoyer dans 10 ans, 20 ans, etc. Ça n'a aucun sens. Les jeunes sont le présent de l'Afrique. Et s'ils ne font pas partie du présent de l'Afrique, l'Afrique n'aura pas d'avenir. Et c'est un des problèmes fondamentaux. Les gouvernements que nous mettons en place, vous dites tous, on dit tous, il y a 70% de jeunes dans nos sociétés, garçons et filles, bien sûr. Et on prend une personne, on la nomme ministre de la Jeunesse, pour représenter 70% de la population. Et le reste, on met des 2e âge, 3e âge, 4e âge pour diriger nos pays. Il faut rompre avec ça. Il nous faut des gouvernements paritaires où les jeunes sont aussi présents que les femmes sont présentes et qu'on ait un système. Et ça permet une véritable transition générationnelle. Arrêtons de mettre les jeunes dans un ghetto en leur disant vous êtes très bien, mais vous êtes l'avenir de l'Afrique. Non, ils sont le présent de l'Afrique. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. Je savais que j'allais vous réveiller, docteur. Oui, on va prendre la dame, juste pour m'excuser, parce qu'on attend aussi l'arrivée du vice-président qui est en route. Donc, pour ne pas laisser un peu un grand vide, on va prendre la jeune dame, j'espère, parce que je ne vois pas bien.
Hello.
Oui. Can you hand over the microphone to her? Who has the mic?
It's here.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Can you stand up? We can't see you. Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Gina. I'm the Governance and Human Rights Analyst, National Early Warning Response Mechanism Coordinating Center. I've written this thought since yesterday, and I just wanted to share it with everybody. I feel like as long as we continue to encourage corruption, nepotism, favoritism, and importing incompetent people in public offices, bad governance will continue to stay, and thus coup d'etats, terrorism, youth unemployment, terrorism, instability will continue to rock our dear Sahel. And I believe that the talk era has expired, and we need to walk the walk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're going to take, yes, give it to Ntami. Let's get just 2 more young people and then we would close. Beg your indulgence. Ntami, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. So I have this question that was handed to me from someone in the room, which I found to be very interesting. I'm going to read it. The first question is, and the both questions are to the President of ECOWAS. Is the Sahel Governance Forum taking concrete steps beyond policy declarations to help Africa reduce its dependence on imported goods and services from other continents? In particular, what practical measures are being implemented to promote local production, regional industrialization, and to ensure that food remains accessible and affordable for all Africans? The second question, what is the current status of the ECOWAS single currency initiative? There was significant discussion in the past about ECOWAS member states working together towards the launch of a common currency, including a date for printing and circulation. Has the project been delayed, suspended, or still in progress behind the scene?
Thank you very much, Tami. Dr. Ture, as I said, we have a lot of people following us online, and I'm sure that question is coming from an online. Let's end with Isaka, and then we can give Dr. Ture and Kadieta an opportunity to respond, and we wrap up.
Thank you. I have one comment and perhaps one question.
Make it snappy.
For the President of the ECOWAS Commission. I think you are very right that the ECOWAS has a lot of achievements. My comment is that the ECOWAS Commission appear not to communicate well. And the many things that you mentioned, and actually many facts that can counter a lot of fake news about ECOWAS are there as evident. When ECOWAS wanted to intervene in Niger, some people said that ECOWAS would intervene against military leaders. ECOWAS wanted to intervene here in the Gambia in support of an opposition leader. In the same Niger in 2009, ECOWAS sanctioned Niger because the sitting president then, Mamadou Tanja, tampered with the constitution. So ECOWAS should communicate better and not through traditional means, TikTok, Facebook, and others. My questions now are these. I think you mentioned, and rightly so, that governance is key to the development of the continent. And I wonder where we are with the reform of the supplementary protocol of ECOWAS. Because one thing that has been the sticking gun there is that term limit issue. Research shows that term limit, when in none of the countries has someone come to put this one in question, except in 2, in Mali and in Niger. So where are we? And finally, the ECOWAS financial autonomy. And one practice that has hurt that one in the past is the community levy. When I heard that China is building a new headquarters for ECOWAS, I couldn't fathom that. Where are we in ensuring ECOWAS has financial autonomy? Thank you.
Thank you, Issa. Issa is between the young and the old. It's in the middle. It's not really a youth, it's not really old. But maybe I come back first to Kadieta and then we wrap up with the president of ECOWAS. I think I ended with you, so please go ahead, Kadieta.
Thank you. Maybe at this point, 2 elements I really gather from everything we have heard. The first is, which seemed very important, is the unity of purpose. And it is important, especially now in the world as it is. How across the Sahel, across Africa, we can build really a unity of purpose on where we want to bring our countries and our continent. And it is about really identifying what really matters for us. If it is the people, then we can work on institutions. We can work on processes. We can work on the rules. We can work on the politics and the policies we want to establish to consolidate what is working and take enough strength to change what really needs to be changed. Not only for tomorrow, but for even today, because those who will lead Africa are already now here, as Dr. Gaju said. So unity of purpose is one key element. It is also about how we finance our development. Today, what we hear is about sovereignty. Sovereignty is political, but it is also about giving people the authority and the decision on really what we do for our people. And financing our development is also about mobilizing the resource, the financial resource we have in Africa to really reduce the level of dependence we have from vis-a-vis any other institution. This morning we have heard Mustafa Njai telling us his story, how he moved from Gambia to Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa, including in my country, Senegal. We know about Dangote, how many Dangote we need in Africa to really invest and, of course, welcome the other parts of the world to really join us so we can together build a prosperous continent. It is about pooling resource beyond financial, human capital. Africa has well-educated people. Most of them, I was in Togo, most of the medical doctors trained in Togo are now serving in Europe, Germany, France, etc. It is a loss. So how can we pool resources, human resources, technology, put the technology together? If we take our African champions, and we know some of them who are very far away in terms of technology transformation, how can we scale up the performance to the other African countries? So resource is large, but the main issue is about pooling them and scaling up so countries can benefit across the world. Knowledge is important. We have research centers here and there. How this can be leveraged and serve the purpose of the continent. So unity of purpose is a strong driver, in my view, to really get where we want. My second point is about having regional projects. We need those projects. Energy is one area where we can do more and better. Infrastructure, transport, education, health. The chair of ECOWAS mentioned peace and security. There is nothing that we can do unless we look at those issues across borders. So I will just stop there.
Thank you.
My last point is about really building trust. Building trust is very important between private sector and public sector, citizen and state, military and civilian. I think these are really, in terms of what kind of compact, these are ideas that I feel
Thank you.
very...
Thank you very much. We shall end this session with Dr. Toure. I know you have 2 or 3 questions directed at you, so I give you a couple of minutes to answer those questions as the last, speech from this panel.
Thank you, Chair. The first question relates to production. what do we do to get off imported goods or imported items. I think as a believer in free market, I will not propose anything here that will get us off from imported items, but what I think we need to do is to be able to trade equally, because trade benefits all sides. We should be able to trade equally. Now, how do we assume food or assure our own food security? That is a different thing. But I think to boost our own production, we need to invest. Clever and wise investment is required. And in some cases, particularly in the area of agriculture, heavy investment is required. This is what we would have to do, perhaps at the expense of other sectors, to be able to boost production at the agricultural level, to be able to boost production at the industrial level. This would require a number of concurrent activities, because, you see, we are in a system that has locked us in a very unjust manner. We will have to have a dialogue, or more dialogue, at the World Trade Center level to make sure we produce and sell in a fair manner. We are in a system where you have market access. They will tell you you have market access, but it's only for the primary produce. The moment you transform your produce, tariff escalation or tariffs kick in. So these need to be negotiated. But in response to that question, briefly, we need a proper investment and very wise investment in the productive sector, in agriculture and in value addition to be able to make a difference. I am not saying we will not have imported items. I think trade benefits everybody, but it should be a win-win arrangement. Regarding the single currency, the date that has been fixed, or let me assure you, the single currency is very much on ECOWAS's table. As we speak, the leaders have taken the decision to launch the single currency in 2027. Now, as you know, single currency requires both the political will and certain economic fundamentals that need to be corrected. Some of those fundamentals sometimes lie beyond the control of the state. Fundamentals such as debt levels, fundamentals like deficits, the fundamentals like inflation. As you know, many of our member states, in addressing the challenges of COVID, had to go for more debt. And that, in a sense, was beyond their control. This is why the date for the launch of the single currency has been moved to 2027. The last time the Convergence Council met, they confirmed this in Abuja, that the single currency will be launched in 2027. Now, whether it will be launched by all the countries, that is the question, but it has never happened anywhere. Those who remembered the launch of the euro would recall that it was launched in some countries, and those that were not ready were supported until the time they felt ready. So the same proposal is on the table now. Single currency will be launched perhaps virtually in 2027, because as you recall, the euro was launched in 1999 as a virtual currency or invisible currency, and in 2002, it was launched as a physical currency. So the process is there, and it is very much on the cards. ECOWAS doing well and communicating poorly, I agree with you. We have not been doing good communication. It is only now that we have tried to revamp our communication outfit, but it was a function that was really dysfunctional. We are now trying to improve on it, and I must say we've been taken unawares. As Minister Gajo said, we found ourselves confronted with a social media that was going at a speed of lightning. And as an institution with poor communication function, we could not catch up. And I don't think any country can catch up with what is happening now. When I consulted partners, this is an area they all lamented about. And this brings me to the question, our youth are in between the rock and the hard place. They are being abandoned, but also manipulated. If we're talking about youth being abandoned, we should recognize this, but we should also recognize that they are being manipulated, particularly by deep fake. You see, even the trained eyes cannot tell the difference between the deep fake and reality today, let alone the untrained eyes like us. I mean, you can be presented in China this afternoon when you are sitting in Banjul. So these are some of the dangers we are facing, and our youth need to be alerted to this. The second, the reform of the supplementary protocol. The supplementary protocol has been a subject of discussion at various levels in Council. The last time it was objected to by 2 countries, including this Gambia here. Some time ago it was objected to by Gambia and another country. I am a Gambian, I can mention Gambia. Recently, 3 countries have raised reservations, and those reservations required some consultation, and those consultations have been going on, including with Senegal, including with 2 other countries, and this is where we are to ensure that we have a convergence on the provisions of the text before we present it for adoption. But it is very much alive and on the table. ECOWAS's financial autonomy. As a regional economic community, ECOWAS has an admirable level of autonomy. As we speak, between 70 and 80% of ECOWAS activities are being financed by the community levy. And all member states are up to date except 2. For the first time in 19 years, Nigeria paid up 100% of its community levy last December. That shows the mark of confidence that the community continues to have in ECOWAS. So, as we speak, all member states are up to date with the payment of their community levy, and we do hope this continues. The 2 countries that are a little bit reluctant are being engaged at all levels to ensure that they make their payments. You see, the community levy is being paid by you and I. Ordinary citizens who are using imported items are paying for the community levy. So for countries not externalizing those resources is in a way illegal, because they are receiving the money on behalf of ECOWAS from citizens. So using it differently is like using illegal money or using the resources illegally. So this is what member states have understood, and they are all complying with the remittance of the community levy. Now, no man is an island. ECOWAS has strong partners, and one of those partners is China. Now, if a partner offers you a facility, the most you can do is to welcome that. This conference hall we are sitting in is a product of partnership. So the new office facility of ECOWAS is a product of partnership, and I want to use this opportunity to thank the Chinese government for being so generous. The office facility should be completed by the end of this year, and it was built at a tune of $32 million. We are very grateful for that. But it does not show, that does not mean we are not financially autonomous. Mr. Chair, I hope I have responded to the question.
You have. Thank you very much. I think we should give. I am not going to try and summarize because I'm told His Excellency, the VP, is just waiting on us to give way. But I wanted to ask you to help me thank my panelists as we make our way out of the podium. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're about to commence the closing session. I would like to call to the podium the following persons. Sorry Ibrahim Sise, National Youth Council Mali. Is Ibrahim Sise in the room? Abdullahi Ma Die, United Nations Under Secretary General and Special Coordinator for Development in the Sahel. I'd like to call on Madam Mahuna Izia Kongwa, She needs no introduction. His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of Nigeria and founder of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation. Do I call Jenaba to make her point, or you want to divide? She's here. She's here.
I'm here.
Took his chair from here.
You want a chair?
You took the chair.
You withdraw the chair.
You took the chair. No. Okay. You know what you said? You want me to call Geneva?
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Mohammed B.S. Jallow. Please be seated. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Mohammed B.S. Jallow, Your Excellency Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairperson of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, Your Excellency John Kunda Traore, former President of the Republic of Mali, Excellency the former Vice President, His Excellency the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Burkina Faso, Excellency Madam Ahuna, UN Assistant Secretary General, UNDP Assistant Administrator and Director for Regional Bureau, Your Excellency the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, Excellency Leonardo Santos Simao, Special Representative of the Secretary General United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Dr. Roba Sharamu, Regional Director of International IDA, the Honorable Speaker, Cabinet Ministers here present, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, the EU Special Representative to the Sahel, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, service chiefs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Excellencies, as we gathered here at the closure of this inaugural Sahel Governance Forum, it is both an honor and a privilege to welcome you all once again, this time to mark the conclusion of the 2 days of rich, open, and forward-looking discussions on the future of governance in our region. Over the past 2 days, we have reflected deeply on the challenges facing the Sahel, such as fragile trust, frail social contracts, the effects of insecurity, and governance shortfalls. But we have also celebrated the resilience, the potentials, and the determination of our people to shape a better future. We have listened and also shared and as well debated and above all committed ourselves anew to the idea that rebuilding social cohesion and restoring public trust must lie at the heart of the region's development agenda. As a moderator of this closing session, I would like to frame our reflection around 3 important and essential questions that we must carry with us. One, what bold actions are required to translate the compelling ideas we have shared here into tangible reforms and real-world change? And 2, how do we strengthen regional solidarity and cross-border cooperation in ways that unlock the full potentials of our people, especially our dynamic youth, and make South-South cooperation a living force for good? And the 3rd one, what role must national governments, regional bodies, civil society, and the citizenry play to sustain the momentum we have built here? Therefore, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this forum has shown us that there is no shortage of ideas, innovation, or leadership in the Sahel. What is needed now is delivery, moving from dialogue to actions, from commitment to implementation, and from good intentions to impact. Let us not allow this momentum to fade. Let us build a strong follow-up mechanism as proposed in our action plans to ensure that the outcomes of this forum are carried forward locally, regionally, and internationally. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to introduce our distinguished speakers for the closing session, whose leadership and perspectives have been instrumental throughout this process. To my immediate right, we have His Excellency Abdullah Mar Gay, United Nations Under Secretary General and Special Coordinator for Development in the Sahel. A round of applause for Abdullah. Next to Abdullah, I have Her Excellency Madam Ahuna Ziakuna, UN Assistant Secretary General, UNDP, Assistant Administrator and Director for Regional Bureau for Africa. Well, at the center we have His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mohamed B.S. Jallow. Next, we have His Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the chairperson of the Good Luck Ebele Jonathan Foundation. And to the far extreme, I have His Excellency Mr. Sori Ibrahim Sise, National Youth Council from the Republic of Mali. Excellencies, before I proceed, I am also delighted to welcome someone who has words of powers that transcend borders and also can steer reflection. Please join me to welcome Madam Jaina Bature to deliver a point that captures the essence of our gathering and the promise of the Sahel. Madam Jainaba, if you are around, please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jainaba. I'm a spoken word artist. It's a pleasure to be here, and a huge congratulations to each and every one of you for how far you've come. The piece I'll be reciting today is a letter to the children of Sahel. Have you met her? The Sahel. She carries weight, walks with grace, possesses power, homes the most beautiful people. On her shoulders rest her nations, on her lands her minerals. She is beautiful. She is strong, confident, rich and smart. She wouldn't let the chaos fill her mind. She reminds us, as I read this letter, to keep her safe, that nothing in this world would break us, that she stands firm to rise beyond borders, to rise beyond enemy lines, to remain and unbroken, to remember that her land keeps memories, sad and happy ones. But she implores us to fight and never back down. There is hope to healing, strength, prayers. This is for you. Regardless of shackles, regardless of truths, regardless of lies, regardless of people, this letter is for you. They are children of Sahel. There are many versions of this story, told by many preachers, sculptors, poets. This author will speak. This author will bite, chew, and spit without remorse. This author will open books you've hidden. She will speak of the past, of men and many others before, a place, a region, a continent, a people unified in ambition, integrity, where the soil understood the language of spades. Men had compassion for the weak. Every book had a home, and every pen knew history. Knowledge then laid carpets on every street before your cousin Tim booked 2 of ours and burned the library. Men then stood firm with their buckles tight before blades were switched for dresses. You think GMOs could be compared to organics? Don't misinterpret delusion for reality. You talk about wealth. We're the people of Africa, rich in culture, knowledge, minerals like you've never seen before. A system built not on blood and greed, a learned people. Bodies healthy enough to serve a lifetime. Their food wasn't tampered with. They knew technology and architecture too. Does it surprise you? They had laws that served God. It was fair and not disingenuous. A system that distinguishes the wealthy and the needy. Not one that takes a piece of your mind for a piece of your minds. Not one with an invisible hand to rule. Not one built on fiscal illusion and a hidden economy. This should be a better and different governance. Not one with an order for a new world, a game of chess. Betrayal as a peak element. A great hypocrisy to divide and conquer. And oh, they scramble for our lands. And anyone with a shred of knowledge, kill them all. Except for traditions and language. Everything was taken from us, including our titles of royalty. Now what happens when you strip a people of their history and patch up a new one? Establish a hollow wood to project a Hollywood story. A perfect indoctrination. Introduce human rights right after their genocide. The cover-up. But what is a crown without an honest king? What is a throne without its people? What is vision without reality? What is knowledge without a past? What is advancement without us, without God? What is truth? I'll tell you. Truth is the man executed for being honest. Truth is a child manipulated to believe he's of a different gender. Truth is a man who creates a problem, offers a solution, then seeks for a bonus. Truth is a man who creates a problem. Truth is a facade of independence, the ownership of 90% of our resources. Truth is the fight, blood for the 10% we so own. Truth is the system rigged to suit a few ties and bows and economic terrorism. Truth fights. Truth governs. Fights in truth for truth. Lies lie still. Dressed in political gowns, legislative watches, and leather government shoes, convincing us that subservience is right and exploitation is growth. Lies create middlemen to pursue an agenda. I see lies as a bowl of poison, decorated with ugly power. I see lies as an intrusive thought, hell-bent on punishing my thoughts for thinking right thoughts. I see lies as a soldier working against my mind to dig out God's words in exchange for sinning contracts. Lies aren't always a beautiful picture with sparkles and pearls hanging by your bedroom door. Lies are also a prison you do not know of. They said our freedom cost too much. Well, they couldn't afford it. They also said they could be our light. Well, how could they possibly protect us when they hide in the dark? These lies. Listen, how much poison do we take until we can't anymore? What stories are we going to choose to tell? What's our narrative? Our path? Do we tend to live in and for the box like democracy, a beautiful sin? We can't speak the same language because my tongue is tied to the bruises of our past. We need an amendment. The shackles of this prison and the foreseen doom of our future. Like a retired body language, I am tired of rooting their rules. How are you going to teach me leadership skills when your pillars are broken? How are you going to teach me rights when you can't right the wrongs? When you right the wrongs? When you right the wrongs? God made us locks impenetrable. He made us shadows to walk on all sides but never against us. Take a look at the mirror and tell me you are not beautiful. Understand you're worth more than pricing. Understand. Tell me God made a mistake. And I swear on my life I will look away walking. I won't try to show you how perfectly fitting our Sahel pieces patch their ceilings. You don't need a traveler's guide. You're a map of beauty and riches. Look closely. Like soldier mannequins, find and fight for your people. Like a man and his skin. Like a man and his kin. Our way of life is preserved. For without purpose, problems punish people possessed through pleasing. Now hear me. Today, we begin with a step, a revolution. This present-day Sahel airs the difference, taking back control of our resources. Wear her like a coat in winter. Have your gold reserves button you up. Tie your suits in your own currency. And as you walk, diplomacy, laws, and treachery will follow like a neatly structured disease. Don't look back. Take ownership and walk. Brush off those dusty loans. Pay it all back. No more strings. Cleanse your nation off of impurities and unite with better governance. Rebuild, rewrite, and own it. Yours truly, Sahel.
Thank you, Jainaba. Another round of applause for Jainaba, please. That was very inspiring. Now, to share a youth perspective from the heart of the Sahel, I have the honor to invite Mr. Sori Ibrahim Cisse, representing the National Youth Council of Mali, to deliver his remarks. Mr. Sori, you have the floor. Thank you. You want to come here? You want to come here? Yes. You want to come here? Thank you.
Excellences, Monsieur le Vice-président, Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, distingués participants, chers jeunes leaders, en vous rang grade, tout protocole observé. Alors, ce forum de Banjul tire à sa fin. Ce 31 juillet 2025, je suis profondément honoré de m'adresser à vous en tant que jeune leader pour le changement positif, de toutes celles et ceux qui œuvrent sans relâche pour un Sahel meilleur. Ces 2 jours, nous avons partagé idées, expériences et engagements qui révèlent une force collective inédite, un engagement inébranlable pour l'autonomisation des jeunes et la transformation durable de notre région. Le Sahel que nous imaginons, c'est un Sahel résilient, capable de surmonter les défis les plus aigus, qu'il s'agisse des crises climatiques, des violences ou des fragilités économiques, par la force de nos communautés et la volonté inébranlable de sa jeunesse. Cette résilience est le socle sur lequel nous devons bâtir. Un socle solide qui puise sa force à la fois dans nos racines et dans notre vision tournée vers l'avenir. Le Sahel que nous construisons est un Sahel à gouvernance inclusive, où les jeunes, les femmes, les communautés marginalisées ne sont plus de simples spectateurs, mais des véritables acteurs clés au cœur des décisions. Une gouvernance transparente et participative qui nous donnera les outils pour transformer les institutions et bâtir une paix durable, capable de libérer les potentiels extraordinaires de notre région. Mais plus encore, le Sahel que nous portons à nos cœurs est un Sahel où le rôle des jeunes est central. C'est un rôle vital qui fait de nous des bâtisseurs de paix, des entreprises de développement et des sujets actifs du renouveau démocratique. Notre énergie, notre audace et notre créativité sont les leviers puissants qui peuvent changer le cours de l'histoire pour chaque communauté, chaque village, chaque ville de notre région. Les discussions et les résultats de ce forum sont une preuve éclatante que nous ne sommes plus dans l'attente. Nous sommes dans l'action. Action collective, aller à une responsabilité partagée, un engagement porté par toutes les générations. Nous avons démontré que nos voix unies peuvent transformer les défis en opportunités, que la solidarité régionale est notre atout majeur, que notre jeunesse est la clé du développement durable du Sahel. Alors, en conclusion, je lance un vibrant appel à chacun de vous. Soyons des gardiens de cette vision, des artisans de cette transformation et les porteurs d'espoir pour des générations à venir. Que notre avenir soit celui d'un Sahel fort, uni, prospère. Un Sahel où chaque jeune trouve sa place, sa voix et devient un moteur de changement vrai et positif. ensemble. Et seulement ensemble, nous écrirons cette nouvelle page de l'histoire du Sahel avec confiance, courage et détermination. Je vous remercie pour votre aimable attention.
Please put your hands together again for Mr. Ebley. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite His Excellency Abdoulaye Mar Gueye, United Nations Under-Secretary General and Special Coordinator for Development in the Sahel. Excellency, please.
Thank you, MC, Mr. Minister. I really fear to be redundant or even irrelevant after I hear Jenaba and Ibrahim. I think they have written the memorandum or even the manifesto of our meeting. If you combine the two, they have said it. In fact, listening to them, I wonder if this session should have been called a closing session. We are trying to discuss the governance of the future, but I think they have opened the session for the future. Thank you, both of you. I was thrilled when I heard Jenaba. It reminds me Maya Angelou. Two poems of Maya Angelou. Phenomenal woman, she is. Phenomenal woman we have seen these last 2 days that we have been discussing here. Thank you, Jenaba, for reminding us that we need phenomenal women like you to really imagine the Sahel of the future. But what I really got out of your statement is that second poem of Maya Angelou, do it, I think we will succeed the Sahel. MC, I should be concluding in 2 words. The future is in the hands of the young generation. When I heard that we wanted to have a compact or agreement, I got scared. We shouldn't be having a compact. In Banjul, we have started a symphony that should be continuing. My advice to UNDP, and you have done it in UNDP, you have this notion of labs. I think we have to get out in the future out of this Davos style and invent a Banjul style of discussion, which is a lab where it will be an intergenerational discussion between the older generation and the younger generation that I represent here. I think that is the future. The Ibrahims and the Jenabas and the Mars will be in that meeting. So let me say how impressed I am and scared, by the way, of the power of our prescriptive mind. I have heard 2 words that scare me during the 2 days. Il faut, il n'y a qu'à, we need, we must. And that is our intellectualism. We have to be very careful and afraid. We don't know the solutions. We have to understand. We have to have a sense of humility. My advice to UNDP, to the the Good Luck Foundation, and to the Gambia is that we open in the future a kind of labs that you have in UNDP, this laboratory, where we say we don't know the solution. We know there is the solution, but we don't know. Getting together, we can be closer to the solution. This kind of intergenerational forum where we discuss, this is where we will find the grail. Thank you, all of you. That was a great spirit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That was also a very powerful statement. Now, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Her Excellency Madam Ahuna, the United Nations Assistant Secretary General and Director for UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa. Your Excellency, you now have the floor.
Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Your Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan, former President of Nigeria, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, you know, this forum has been long in the making. And I recall our anxiety a few years ago when we realized we couldn't have this meeting when it was proposed in the Gambia. And we wrestled with this. We were in a hurry to have the meeting, to have the forum launched. And for some reason, it was a little bit difficult to do it here, and it had to be postponed. In between, there were offers for it to be held elsewhere. But we kind of persisted because there was something about having this in Gambia, something that was saying to us that having this forum in the Gambia will be a powerful reminder for the government and people of Gambia of how far they have come in their journey, in their long walk to freedom. But we also felt it will be also a very important reminder to this country on what's at stake in sustaining peace and the freedom that they have found. And I hope that patience, that persistence has paid off, because I think Gambia had earned the place of being the birthplace of this first inaugural meeting. I also want to agree with Mar here that one of the things that came to me as I sat the last 2 days is the situation that for us to walk this walk in the Sahel, we need wisdom, we need knowledge, we need experience, but we also need energy, we need enthusiasm, we need grit, we need the excitement and the stamina of the youth. So the forum launched today, I believe going forward, like Ma said, has to be conceptualized as an intergenerational space. 60%, we say, of the population in this region is under the age of 30. In every room where we have this conversation, we must make sure that 60% is under the age of 30. It must be genderized, gender balanced. We say 52% of the population in the Sahel are women. We must make sure that in every space, on the platform, behind the scenes, behind the rooms, 52% of the participants are women. Achieve a reflection of the reality that we have in society. And I think as we come to the close of this inaugural Sahel Governance Forum, I really want to thank all of you seated here for your voice, your courage, your clarity, and your vision. I realize that even though the issues have been so tough, that the passion, your determination, your conviction, and your presence here indicates one thing, that none of us here is ready to give up on the Sahel. That instead, we're pumped up and we have a deep resolve to go forward towards the solutions and resolutions that will give birth to that future of governance. I want to thank our leaders from the UN system, USG Mar, Under Secretary General Ma, SRSG Mao, and our other senior representatives from here. We have resident representatives from different countries of UNDP. We have resident coordinators here. President Jonathan's foundation and the team, International IDEA. We have a joint team of the organizers who have been working behind the scenes. Some of them haven't slept, tirelessly trying to pull this together. We just come and we eat at the table. But I can tell from their faces that it's been tough. And they stood up and delivered. So please, let's give them a round of applause. Over the past 2 days, we have reflected deeply on what governance is in the Sahel and what it must become. We have spoken honestly about wealth creation, integrity in leadership, accountability, and inclusion, not as an abstract ideal, but as a building block of a more peaceful, prosperous, and just region. We have agreed, as expressed by the different speakers, that the future we seek will not be delivered by chance, that it must be designed by leadership that listens, leadership that cares, and leadership that's ready to serve, by systems that have integrity, and by people who are empowered to shape their own destinies, people who have agency, who do not fear to express themselves, and who are given the chance to do so without fear. We have heard the voices of youth demanding space to create, not just to wait. We've heard the call of women for equal opportunity at the table, not symbolic inclusion. And we've heard from leaders who understand that governance is not about holding power, it is about earning trust. We heard scholars and members of civil society, as well as the private sector, who are ready to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to promote the agency of the people. We heard our young artists, including my favorite poet in this country, Janabi, whose talents continue to make the Sahel proud. This forum may be ending this chapter, but the real work begins now. One of the most important contributions of this forum has been the launch of the report, The Future of Governance in the Sahel, Rebuilding Social Cohesion and Public Trust. I want to encourage all policymakers, leaders, political actors, civil society, organizations, development partners, captains of business, to actively engage with its findings and recommendations and to translate its insights into real actionable reforms at local, national, regional, and global levels. And UNDP here remains committed to work with partner organizations represented here to translate the recommendations into actions for the people of the Sahel. And as we leave Banjul this time, we must commit to building economies that serve everyone, not just a few, to lead with integrity, not entitlement, and to govern in a way that restores hope, not just order. Let us not settle for only managing crisis in the Sahel. We must build legitimacy. Let us not wait for peace to arrive. We must lead with justice so peace can follow. And let us remember that the people of the Sahel, its farmers, its traders, its teachers, its market women, its artists and dreamers are not a problem to be solved. They are part of the solution. To our incredible team who put this together between Senegal, Gambia, and the entire organizing team, once again, thank you for your tireless work behind the scenes in making the forum not just possible, but meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make this forum the beginning of a new era for the Sahel and for Africa. Thank you.
Please, can we give Madam Ahuna another round of applause, please? That was so wonderful. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, now it is my pleasure to invite His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Chairperson of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation. Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. As a part of the organizing team,
yes, sir. Okay.
As a part of the organizing team, let me sincerely join my sister Hona to thank the government of the Gambia for hosting us. Yeah. And not just hosting us, but for participating fully. At least I arrived on Tuesday. From that Tuesday, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and the Gambians abroad and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry were at the airport to receive us. Then the opening, the President himself was here with senior government functionaries, Attorney General and others. But the Vice President is here with us today to conclude this session. So I have to sincerely thank the President and the government. And Vice President, please convey my sincere appreciation to my younger brother, Mr. President. And let me also, on behalf of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, appreciate the United Nations Development Program for bringing us in to organize this program. We are just a featherweight compared to them. But for bringing us in, you have promoted us beyond expectation. So we appreciate you and all your staff. And the issues that we've been discussing since yesterday could be summarized in few words. And of course, some of the speakers, including Governor Bala, mentioned it, the issue of governance. The key thing we have now, so how do we convey these various talks to the critical elements of the sub-region that can implement it? Our serving governors, our serving parliamentarians, our serving ministers, and so on. And I was impressed because today some governors of the Gambia pay a courtesy call on me. They are young people, 40 plus. And they personally expressed their delight and what they gained in participating in this program as young people that we're looking up to lead the sub-region tomorrow. During the parallel session, I decided to go to the platform for the women. And I was quite impressed. The robust conversation among the women. I was pleasantly surprised that the serving judge was a part of the discussion. Normally, judges are very conservative. You hardly see them on platforms like this. So they have done well. And listening to the questions, especially the ones that came from outside this room that were read by some of our young people, that questions directed to the President of ECOWAS, I know the expectation of people, not just within the Sahel, but ECOWAS generally. But my good friend, Dr. Omar Toure, you are doing a great job in ECOWAS. I can say that because I've worked with you after leaving office. And ECOWAS is doing well. In most cases, when you have a child, you don't notice that your child is growing. But the people, friends who visit, or relatives that visit you maybe 2 years, 3 years interval, they are the people who say, this child has grown. But because the child lives with you, so you don't even notice the growth. I used to tell people that if you were to write a textbook on democracy in Africa, some 35, 40 years ago, I'm not sure you'll be able to write 50 pages. But now, if you are going to write a book on democracy in Africa, you can go up to 200 to 300 pages. Yes, we have challenges, but we are also growing. We are also moving. People specifically ask about the three countries, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, vis-a-vis ECOWAS. And I can say that ECOWAS now is still even more stable than the time I was the president of I was the chair of the authority of the heads of state and government. That was 2010. That 2010, I was just the vice president, but acting president then. And of course, our president said I should chair I should be the chair of the authority. And it was an enormous responsibility for me. We had coup in Niger. I knew how many times I invited the military man that led the coup. Said, look, you can't stay there for too long. We continued to discuss and discuss and discuss until we quickly made sure the elections were done. We became friends. Burkina Faso, we had the same crisis. It is not new. Military took over. Myself, President Macky Sall, and I think Mahama flew in, and we said, no, we can't continue this way. Within that day, we were able to get the military out. An interim government that was to stay for 9 months to 1 year and conduct election was set up. Of course, even Mali, 2012, that's how myself and the former president became friends. When there was a crisis in Mali, 2012. I remember one day I flew into Mali very early in the morning. I stayed there till about 12 midnight before I flew back to Abuja. Finally, we were able to stabilize the country, became acting president until elections were conducted. Even Côte d'Ivoire, during the problem between Ouattara and Gbagbo, the stalemate after the elections, it was led to civil war. About 3,000 people died. I was still the chair of the authority, and I knew what we did to stabilize the country. Togo, at the time, was also very tense. Sierra Leone was very tense. Then it was very tense. I remember there was a day I was in Kenya, in Nairobi, and I got a call from Benin. So I have to return back immediately. I didn't even stop in Abuja. I have to fly into Cotonou immediately. And we engaged, and we were able to bring the tension down. So, and if you look at what is happening now, even these three countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, to me, just like we discussed about transition, these are countries that are in transition. That cannot be the final government. But it's good that ECOWAS is becoming quite diplomatic to manage the situation. These problems will be resolved. And I believe the sub-region will even be better off. So let me, again, on behalf of the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, on behalf of the UNDP, thank all of you for coming to participate. Throughout yesterday, we were here from morning till night, now morning till night. It's not an easy thing. So we have to sincerely appreciate your commitment and your contributions especially, because they were quite heartwarming, quite educative, and I believe it will help the sub-region. I thank you all.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency. Please, another round of applause for His Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, It is now time to invite His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Mohammed B.S. Jallow. Your Excellency,
Your Excellency, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, Chairperson of the Goodluck Ebel Jonathan Foundation, Your Excellencies, former heads of state, Excellencies, former vice presidents, honorable ministers and permanent secretaries, Special Representative of the Secretary General, United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Assistant Secretary General and United Nations Development Program, Regional Director for Africa, United Nations Special Coordinator for Development in the Sahel, and other esteemed representatives of United Nations, Regional Director of International IDEA, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, service chiefs, senior government officials, regional governors here present, the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As we draw the curtains on this historic first ever Sahel Governance Forum, I stand before you with immense delight and gratitude. Over the past 2 days, we have witnessed a convergence of wisdom, experience, and vision, a gathering that has reaffirmed our collective commitment to shaping a future of governance that is nationally owned, just, inclusive, and rooted in the aspirations of our people. This forum has not only been a platform for dialogue, it is a gathering for deep reflection and renewed resolve. We have listened to voices from across the Sahel, from former heads of state to youth and women leaders, from seasoned policymakers to community champions. Together, we have unpacked the complexities of governance, peace building, and public trust, and we have dared to imagine a better tomorrow. As Vice President of the Gambia, and as stated by His Excellency President Adama Barrow at the opening of this first ever Sahel Governance Forum, I am proud to echo the bold steps our government has taken to lead by example. The launch of the Green Focus Recovery National Development Plan, known as YIRUA, is a testament to our resolve to build forward better. With its 7 transformative pillars, from governance reforms to climate resilience, from digital innovations to peace and human rights, the YIRUA is not just a plan, it is a promise to our people. We have also demonstrated our commitment to transitional justice and reconciliation. We have chosen the path of accountability, healing, and renewal. This is the kind of leadership the Sahel and the whole of Africa needs: courageous, transparent, and people-centered. Your Excellencies, let us not allow the momentum of this forum to fade. Let us carry forward the spirit of collaboration and the urgency of action. The challenges we face in the Sahel are formidable, but they are not insurmountable. With shared purpose, dialogue, increased solidarity, and strategic partnership, we can overcome the challenges, rebuild trust, restore cohesion, and strengthen governance for generations to come. To our international partners and co-hosts, the United Nations Development Program, the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, the Office of United Nations Special Coordinator for Development in the Sahel, and International IDEA. We thank you for walking this journey with us. To the government and citizens of the Sahel, especially our youth and women, we pledge to dialogue, collaborate, and keep your issues and needs at the center of our collective decisions and action plan for a peaceful and prosperous Sahel now and for future. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we close this forum, let us live not with speeches, but with commitments. Let us live not with applause, but with action. Let us live not with memories, but with a mission to build a Sahel where governance and development is a force for unity, dignity, and progress. On behalf of His Excellency President Adama Barrow and the people of the Gambia, I thank you all for your participation, your insights, and your unwavering dedication to the future of our region. May the spirit of Kolole guide us forward. Thank you, safe travels, and may peace and prosperity reign across the Sahel and the rest of the globe. It is now my singular honor to declare the Sahel Governance Forum officially closed. Thank you for your kind attention.
Please. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In closing, let me, on behalf of the government of the Republic of the Gambia and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, thank each one of you, our co-hosts, speakers, delegates, youth voices, the development partners for your unwavering commitment to good governance and a peaceful, united Sahel. Let me also thank you all for your participation. Let us depart not with a sense of conclusion, but with a renewed sense of mission to take what we have built here in Banjul and transform it into a real, inclusive, and sustainable change across our countries and communities. Thank you once again for your presence, your passion, and your partnership. We wish you safe travels, and we look forward to meeting again with progress in hand at the next forum. I thank you all. Safe journey.